Today I want to talk about the iPad Go 2 animation. I've heard many of you have watched the movie, but you might not have noticed what it's trying to say. But the point is that although it might seem a simple animation or just short clip or something naive, but it's not, because it is indirectly referring to the coming of the Islamic al-Mahdi, or the 12th Imam, the Mahdi, and it's trying to present him as some kind of cruel beast or an antichrist or someone that's going to bring bloodshed and disaster and destruction. And in fact, this is how the Western media or the non-Muslim media are trying, even the non-Shiite media are trying to present Mahdi as that he's a cruel destructor and demolisher of civilizations, is going to be killing everyone, he's going to bring war and bloodshed into the world, but that's not the case. I will talk on the video and tell you first how they are trying to present al-Mahdi to the world to make him frightening, because they know that he is the one who is going to be favored by everyone after he comes back. He's the one that's going to rescue everybody. So by presenting him as a cruel and disgusting person, they are in fact trying to make people frightened of him, to dislike him, and so they want to make him as a disgusted creature. In this video, I'm going to talk about who Mahdi really is and about the lies that lie inside this video. For those of you who have watched the movie, this is iPad Go 2. For those of you who haven't, I really recommend that you watch it first. And the movie starts with this kind of puppet show that presidents of the US are the puppets, and the person who is dangling their hands and feet, it's like the hand of devil. On one hand there's the dollar ring representing wealth, and on the other hand it's blood dropping from the hand representing the bloodshed that this devil has brought into the world. And actually this is the mind behind all these like kind of Freemasonic or politics that's ruling out the politicians and world's politics. And it is directed by two motives: the money and war. The thing that first I have to mention is that in these kind of Freemasonic rituals and or news that they present to people, the politics is that they intermingle truth and lie together, so that those who listen to these or watch them, by seeing, for example, some hints of truth, they will assume that the whole news that's being provided to them is true, but in fact they have put certain falsities and certain lies within those truths, so that people accept all of them as a whole, as a package. So by presenting some bits of truth, they also are injecting some lies into your minds and some falsities that they want you to believe in. So when watching these videos or movies, or any kind of videos or movies, it's good to have in mind that you shouldn't accept anything as a total lie or as a total truth. It's always intermingled, so you should investigate on it and find out which are the parts that are true, which are the ones that are lies. Okay, going back to the movie. And then we have these US presidents as the puppets. And, well, this is the W. Bush that's dancing based on how he is told to. And his this hat on his head is like a birthday hat. And it's totally like, it's like as if he's a child. He points to this evolution theory that Darwin introduced, that humans are descendants of monkeys, and that's like the evolution has turned humans as they are right now. But that's a total lie. We all know, because how can it be? Why then do we have monkeys still that haven't evolved, or what that monkey in the first place came from? So the whole evolution theory, it can be said that as part of this Freemasonic make-believe story of world's creation, because they intend people not to believe in God or in spirituality or divinity, and to assume that everything is haphazard. So we have this evolution theory on the top. Then we have, you see on the blackboard, this evolution, again, people being hanged for not being able to complete it, to believe in it, to graduate in it. So those who rejected evolution are being like hanged in this hangman game. We have at the top this penis figure representing lust, probably, or maybe even homosexuality, because, well, there's just one organ. Then we have, well, she looks like Oprah Winfrey, but still it can be even, she can represent more than just Oprah. Then at the back we have that brain figure being divided into two halves by this lightning. Well, this I assume is breaking down the reason by devil's power, because in their Freemasonic groups they symbolize devil as this lightning. And, well, it's both like a lightning and the snake. Both of them are how they represent devil in Freemasonic theories. So it's dividing into two halves the brain. So it's trying to destroy reasonable thinking. And now how this Bush president changes into Obama, meaning that he he was assumed to be acting differently, but is in fact following the same procedure. Now here is one of those scenes that many people do not understand and they interpret differently. But if you are a Muslim and you know that about Islam and the Shiite Islam, you will see that the lady is presenting the mother figure and the chaste mother figure, and she is having this apple, which is a symbol of birth in Christian theology. And she has this white cloak, which is again the symbol of purity. But in the back, you can see 12 figures. And these 12 figures are all in chain, and they look desperate. They are like wounded. And you have two like twins at the back. The heads are sticking together, so those are as if they are brothers. And in fact, for one who knows about Shiite Islam, they will understand that these 12 are the 12 imams, and this lady in front is their mother. So this one is the Hazrat Fatima, and the ones are the imams. And see how they are in chain and in pain, and it's because all of them were killed, and many of them were killed as a result of plots by Jews. And, well, we know that Freemasonic origins goes back to a certain group of Jews, but I'm not condemning Jews as a whole, because in Islam you have many verses and many narrations that the true Jewish believers are so much similar to Muslims, because they have same rituals. Many of them believe in the same thing. So I'm not condemning them as a whole, no, not at all. But certain group that started this Freemasonic groups, those are the ones that I'm talking about when I call them Jews. So these are the imams who have been martyred and tortured, chained, and all this kind of stuff. And this is the mother figure, who again is sad because of all the distortions and all the tortures and everything. And then we have this flowering apple, which, I interpret it as, because we have this story behind Imam Mahdi's birthday, that he was born from two genealogies. His father was an Arab, he was Imam Hassan Askari, and his mother was a Roman princess who came to where Imam Hassan lived, and they lived there together. The story is real beautiful, but here is not the place. Well, I interpret this apple and this joining of two seeds as this, and the flowering is the flower is the birth of Mahdi. And afterwards, we see how this birth causes horror and fear in this in Obama, which represents this Freemasonic representative. Then we have this winter, the cold, the snow, the lightning picture at the back, the American flag. And then we come into this whole cruel, dark, cold world that has forgotten about that birth. And we have this towers, this twin towers that have been attacked. We have this whole Black Sea, which represents this war for oil in Middle Eastern special countries. So the birth is forgotten. We come into this world, we come into all these cruelties, these different dances. And then we have this boat carrying the Jesus. The front of that boat, if you pay attention later, is there's a goat. This one here, we have the Obama bin Laden, who was introduced as being a Muslim fighter, but in fact, the CIA sign here on his chest shows that he was actually a terrorist, brought up for this reason to be presented as a Muslim, but in fact he was not a Muslim. We have this Statue of Liberty and this sea of oil and this six-sided star, which represents Freemasonic activities. This triangle that shows upward and downward. Then we have the one-eyed devil. We call it Dajjal in Muslim. Muslims call it Dajjal. It is said that he has one eye, so it's not actually going to look like this because this is kind of exaggeration. But maybe the person who we know as Dajjal is, for example, blind in one eye, just having one eye. Well, but here the representation is as like a snake having just one eye, a serpent. Here we have the Baphomet goat, and then we have this Christ-like figure which is asleep and it's as if it is being controlled by power. Well, on his forehead we have this Freemasonic pyramid with the one eye devil on the top, so it's as if he's being directed by the powers of devil. Well, and you know that the Christ was intended to be killed by this Freemasonic Jews, and the whole story of Christ's martyrdom has been a lie because he was not killed. They were going to kill him, but they couldn't because he ascended into the heaven. But still, the Jews that were trying to kill him, they as well tried to change the truth behind Christ's figure afterwards as well. Now, this is the serpent growing from this child's brain. It's as if you can see, like it's like a robot. We have this demolition and this mass destruction starting from the time this Christ-like figure steps out. Well, quite contrary to what it seems, and people are trying to say that this figure is in fact Mahdi. He's come to destroy everything, to cause war and destruction. Well, but this is the false part that they're trying to present. They are saying that Mahdi is the Antichrist that's going to fight against Christ, but that's not the case at all, because when Mahdi returns and comes back, Christ will come with him, and both of them will pray to God together. And when Christians see this scene, many of the Christians will convert to Islam because they see that, quite unlike what they had been told, Christ is a friend of Mahdi, not his enemy. So this is one of the big lies that they are trying to make people believe, that Mahdi is the Antichrist and that he's going to destroy everything. He's going to punish those who are cruel or those who are usurpers, but not everybody. He's just he is the hand of God, so he knows those who are really in their heart the evildoers. So by presenting him as the destructor and as the icon to be hated, they are trying to save themselves from being punished by God, but that's not the case. Okay, this picture, again, I assume, I interpret it as, again, Hazrat Fatima, the mother of the 12 Imams, and his martyred son, Imam Hussein, who was killed quite unjustly on the day of Ashura in Karbala, and how she is lamenting him. And the beetle represents the evil that caused his murder. Well, it is said in different videos that these represent Russia, this one represents China, how they are trying to resist against globalization, but how the globalization, which is the result of this devil managing mind, how they're being smashed by them. Again, we have this Christ-like figure that the video is trying to present as Mahdi, which is not. And then this dragon-like Christ gradually is gaining life. It's opening its eyes, and this kind of crown around his head goes away. Here we have this Christian prison that is imprisoning the lady. Well, there can be different interpretations of the lady. Some have said that this is the same chaste girl that we saw in the beginning, that it has lost its chastity and innocence and given birth. I say that this is the mother of the Antichrist, the presented Antichrist, actually, because it is being imprisoned in a Christian prison. And she has given birth to this Antichrist, which is Mahdi. Well, this is actually insulting the Shia Islam and our Imam, but well, we know that the Imam is not an Antichrist, so the lady is not, as they also have presented her. Then we have this dancing Shiva, robotic humans, this destruction of all the humans. And, well, this is the devil hiding away, because we have traditions that say the devil will be killed, Satan will be killed when Mahdi comes by his hand, and that's why Satan itself is afraid of Mahdi. Then we have this destructed world, this Persian Sufi dancing, this kind of hip-hop dances that's popular, all kinds of different anti-Mahdi powers. This mesmerizing light, well, but this is the light of truth. here in the video it is presented as light of destruction and calamity, but it's not the case. In the back they are presenting Mahdi. See that civilizations are all crashing down, and they're presenting Mahdi as the Antichrist who is demolishing all the civilization, but that's all of it is a lie. He will actually bring back lost civilizations and those parts of science that humans have not been able to have access to. Here we have the sun rising. Well, I interpret it as how this whole story that they have made out of an Antichrist, which is the Muslims, Mahdi being the Antichrist. So this whole story will, if people are foolish enough to accept the whole story, it will lead to this kind of rising of the sun of their own Freemasonic rulership and leadership and their own birth. So if people are foolish enough to believe the whole animation as they want them to believe it, well, in the end, it's the rise of their own powers.